Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. From NFL News Now, the Chicago Bears have suddenly found themselves back in the national conversation, standing at 6-3 and sitting side by side with the Detroit Lions atop the NFC North. For a franchise that has spent the past few years wandering through the wilderness of mediocrity and outright embarrassment, this kind of resurgence feels almost too good to be true. The arrival of head coach Ben Johnson and rookie quarterback Caleb Williams has electrified Chicago in ways that few expected so quickly. Soldier Field feels alive again. Fans are talking playoffs, talking swagger, talking redemption. But even as the city buzzes with renewed belief, not everyone across the NFL is buying into the Bears' rebirth. Skepticism still lingers, and in the world of football, optimism is always met with a reality check, according to ESPN insider Dan Graziano. Some league sources are quietly whispering that the Bears' 6-3 record might be more of a mirage than a mirror. On paper, Chicago has done everything right. They've won close games, battled back from deficits, and found a way to make each Sunday thrilling. Yet, beneath the surface, some scouts and executives are suggesting the Bears have been walking a fine line between greatness and good fortune. Graziano wrote that several sources around the league view the Bears' defense as suspect, implying that their recent string of victories might owe more to late-game heroics and a few lucky bounces than to sustainable excellence. That skepticism echoes a sentiment that has followed Chicago for years, that even when they win, people wait for the fall. It's not hard to understand why. This is a team that has spent most of the past decade cycling through coaches, quarterbacks, and philosophies like a broken carousel. Since their 2020 playoff appearance, a brief and forgettable blip in an otherwise dark stretch, the Bears have been, at best, a punchline and, at worst, an afterthought. The idea that one rookie quarterback and one bright offensive mind could completely reverse that trajectory feels almost too cinematic for the NFL's brutal realism. So when analysts see Chicago winning in dramatic fashion, pulling off late-game comebacks, and surviving defensive lapses, they wonder whether it's sustainable or simply adrenaline masking deeper flaws. But here's where things get interesting. While critics are raising eyebrows at Chicago's methods, the numbers tell a different, more nuanced story. The Bears currently boast one of the league's most explosive offenses, top 10 in EPA per play and leading the NFL in explosive plays with 78. Those are not fluke numbers. Those are indicators of an offense that knows how to create chaos, how to strike fear, how to turn broken plays into touchdowns. Williams, despite the usual rookie growing pains, has displayed poise that's rare for a first-year quarterback. His chemistry with DJ Moore has blossomed into one of the league's most dynamic duos, and Ben Johnson's offensive creativity has unlocked parts of this roster that seemed dormant for years. The Bears aren't just scoring points, they're dictating tempo, bending defenses, and making every drive look like a highlight reel waiting to happen. Of course, the defense is another story entirely. While it leads the league in takeaways, 20 total, with 13 interceptions and 7 fumble recoveries, those turnovers have been both a blessing and a disguise. Strip away the takeaways, and the Bears' defense ranks near the bottom in nearly every major category. They're 21st in overall defensive efficiency, 27th in yards allowed, and 28th in points surrendered. That's not exactly the stat line of a playoff powerhouse. Opponents have moved the ball at will, especially through the air, and the Bears' tendency to give up long drives has kept games far closer than they should be. The only thing saving them at times has been those timely turnovers, which, as history shows, are the most unpredictable and volatile defensive metric in football. That volatility is precisely what worries NFL insiders. When your success is built on turnovers and last-minute drives, it feels fragile, temporary. You can't plan for interceptions to keep coming. You can't assume your quarterback will always pull off a game-winning march down the field. Eventually, the ball bounces the other way. That's the fear among skeptics, that when Chicago's luck turns, the whole operation could collapse. They point to the narrow wins, the defensive lapses, and the over-reliance on Williams' brilliance as signs of a team that's still finding its footing, rather than one ready to climb into true contention. But while the critics are whispering doubts, the Bears themselves seem deaf to the noise, and maybe that's what makes them dangerous. Inside Hollis Hall, there's a growing sense that something special is being built. Players talk about accountability, about energy, about belief. Ben Johnson's leadership has infused the locker room with a mix of confidence and calm that had been missing for years. He's young, innovative, and unafraid to take risks, a perfect counterpart to Caleb Williams' fearless play style. Together, they've turned the Bears into one of the most entertaining teams in football. They're not just winning, they're rewriting what it means to be a Chicago Bear in the modern era. Williams, in particular, has started to silence some of the early season doubts about his readiness for the NFL stage. Early on, he looked tentative, flashes of brilliance overshadowed by rookie mistakes, but in recent weeks, especially during the comeback win over the Giants, something seemed to click. His decision-making sharpened, his timing improved, and his pocket presence looked polished beyond his years. You could feel it in the stadium, the moment when a rookie stops playing to survive and starts playing to dominate. That's what separates promising quarterbacks from franchise ones. And the Bears might just have the latter if that growth continues. The Bears' ceiling might be higher than anyone thought, a dangerous offense, even with a leaky defense, can still make serious noise come January. Just ask the 2021 Bengals or the 2020 Vikings. Football history is filled with imperfect teams who caught fire at the right moment. And while sustainability might be in question, momentum is very real. And Chicago has plenty of it. Every comeback win builds confidence. Every hard-fought victory teaches resilience. For a team that has known nothing but losing, those lessons matter more than numbers on a spreadsheet. Still, the national narrative remains cautious. ESPN's analytics currently give the Bears only a 43% chance of making the playoffs. Basically a coin flip. It's almost ironic. A team sitting atop its division, tied with Detroit, still considered a long shot by the data, but that's the thing about numbers. They don't account for emotion, for belief, for the spark that turns a good team into something greater. The Bears have that spark. They've played with heart, with grit, with the kind of desperation that often defines playoff-caliber squads. And while some may roll their eyes at the idea of Chicago as a legitimate contender, others see the potential for something brewing, something raw and real. Let's not forget the emotional undercurrent here. Chicago fans have endured years of heartbreak, of false starts and rebuilds that led nowhere. The mere sight of competent football feels like a revelation. The city has fallen in love with this team again, and that kind of energy has a way of fueling players beyond logic. When Soldier Field roars, you can feel the ghosts of the past fading away, replaced by something defiant. This isn't the same old Bears team that folded under pressure. This is a group that fights to the last whistle, even when the odds tilt against them. That change in mentality might be the most important development of all, of course. No one is saying the Bears are Super Bowl bound just yet. Their flaws are real. The secondary needs tightening. The run defense has been inconsistent. The offensive line still commits to many penalties. But those are the kinds of growing pains every rising team faces. What matters is how they respond, and so far, Chicago has answered every challenge. When they've stumbled, they've bounced back. When they've trailed, they've found a way to rally. That's not luck. That's character. And while the doubters may call it unsustainable, the players call it belief. At the end of the day, the Bears' fate won't be decided by pundits or analytics models. It'll be decided on the field, by a rookie quarterback learning faster than anyone expected, by a head coach proving he belongs in the conversation with the league's best, and by a roster that refuses to quit. Whether that's enough to silence the skeptics remains to be seen. But if there's one thing this team has shown, it's that doubt can be a powerful motivator. The rest of the NFC might not be ready to take Chicago seriously yet, but come December, they may not have a choice. So yes, the Bears are flawed. Yes, they've relied on some late-game magic, but they're also 6-3, tied for the division lead and in control of their own destiny. And in the NFL, that's all you can ask for as the season rolls on. We'll find out whether this is a Cinderella run or the beginning of a new era in Chicago football. Either way, one thing is certain. The Bears are relevant again, and that alone should make every skeptic take another look, because in this league, teams built on belief have a funny way of proving everyone wrong. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. In a move that has sent shockwaves across the NFL rumor mill, Caleb Williams, the young prodigy from the Ultimatum program, has reportedly made his feelings crystal clear regarding his role with the Chicago Bears. Sources close to the situation are hinting at a dramatic showdown between the quarterback Phenom and Bears head coach Ben Johnson. A clash that insiders say could redefine the team's strategy moving forward. According to those whispers, Williams didn't mince words in his private meeting with Johnson, allegedly stating, "If I'm going to play sparingly, I'd rather leave." The quote, now circulating like wildfire in league circles, has fueled speculation that the Bears could be facing a quarterback dilemma of epic proportions, one that may not resolve quietly or without headlines. For weeks, analysts and fans alike have been debating how a talent like Williams could fit into Johnson's system, while Johnson has been praised for his forward-thinking offensive schemes. Insiders suggest that his approach to rookie integration might be rubbing Williams the wrong way. The young quarterback, who's been turning heads since his days at the Ultimatum program, is widely regarded as a player who thrives on rhythm, repetition, and trust from his coaching staff. The friction reportedly began in the preseason, when sources say Williams felt his snaps were limited, and his opportunities to develop within live-game situations were being capped. Friends of the quarterback say that while Williams is patient, he is also fiercely ambitious and unwilling to linger in a backup role if it risks slowing his meteoric rise. The Chicago Bears organization, historically no stranger to quarterback controversies, now finds itself under the microscope once again. Rumors from insiders suggest that front office executives have convened multiple emergency meetings to assess the situation, weighing the risk of losing a potential franchise cornerstone against the need to maintain harmony in the locker room. Conversations around the league suggest that teams with a glaring quarterback need have already started keeping tabs on the situation, quietly reaching out to Williams' camp to gauge interest. If true, this could mark the beginning of a league-wide tug-of-war for a player many are already projecting to be a generational talent. What makes this scenario even more combustible is the dynamic between Williams and Johnson, which, according to close sources, is more complicated than a simple disagreement over playing time. Rumors hint at a philosophical clash, with Williams allegedly eager to push the tempo, take calculated risks, and command a high-octane offense, whereas Johnson, known for his structured, methodical approach, may be favoring a slower integration of new talent. The tension, insiders say, has reached a boiling point, with Williams' candid ultimatum reportedly leaving Johnson stunned and the coaching staff scrambling to reassess how they handle the team's most high-profile asset. Meanwhile, whispers around the league suggest that some veteran Bears players are quietly rooting for a compromise, hoping that keeping Williams happy could spark an offensive renaissance. Others, however, are reportedly concerned that a public dispute could fracture locker room chemistry, potentially derailing what the team hopes is a season of rebuilding and resurgence, adding fuel to the fire. Sources close to Williams indicate that the quarterback is receiving advice from former NFL stars, many of whom reportedly see his situation as a textbook case of when to make a decisive career move. Industry veterans are whispering that if the Bears fail to give Williams a clear path to meaningful playing time, the star prospect may explore other options in free agency or even a trade, a scenario that would send shockwaves across the NFL. The buzz among insiders is that Williams' camp is leaving no stone unturned, quietly testing the waters to see if other franchises are willing to offer the immediate playing role he craves. This, they say, is less about ego and more about ensuring that a player with rare talent isn't stifled in the early, critical years of his professional development. From the fans' perspective, the story has already taken on a life of its own. Social media platforms are ablaze with speculation, with some supporters expressing frustration at what they perceive as a failure by the Bears to properly nurture Williams' talent. Others are debating whether the young quarterback is being too hasty, questioning if patience within Johnson's system could ultimately yield a stronger, more durable career. The rumor mill suggests that internal meetings between the coaching staff, front office, and Williams' representatives are ongoing, but no official statements have yet been made. This lack of transparency, insiders say, is only adding to the sense of anticipation and drama, making each day of training camp feel like a ticking time bomb for Bears fans. One particularly intriguing detail floating in league circles is the possibility that Williams' stance could spark a chain reaction affecting not just the quarterback room, but the entire offensive strategy. Rumors hint that offensive coordinators are revisiting their playbooks, considering adjustments that could better accommodate a talent like Williams. Meanwhile, veteran players are reportedly weighing in behind the scenes, offering their perspectives on how the team might reconcile the tension. Between a rising star's ambitions and a head coach's vision, industry insiders whisper that the coming weeks could determine whether the Bears are poised for a breakout season or a season mired in internal strife, all hanging on whether Johnson and Williams can find common ground, or whether the quarterback ultimately decides that the grass may be greener elsewhere. Adding yet another layer to this unfolding drama, some reports suggest that Williams is already preparing mentally for multiple outcomes. Sources indicate that he is weighing the potential of embracing the backup role temporarily versus leveraging his growing reputation to secure a starting position elsewhere. The quarterback's advisors are reportedly compiling a list of teams with openings, evaluating which franchises could offer immediate playing time, a compatible offensive system, and a chance to contend in the near future. This meticulous preparation, insiders say, underscores Williams' seriousness about his ultimatum, signaling to the Bears and the wider NFL that the young quarterback is not merely venting frustration but issuing a clear, strategic message. His career trajectory is not to be compromised. As this story continues to unfold, the league is watching with bated breath. Rumors indicate that meetings behind closed doors are intensifying, and sources suggest that even minor comments from Johnson or Williams could be amplified into headline-grabbing news overnight. The buzz is that the Bears' handling of this situation could set a precedent for how teams manage young, high-potential quarterbacks in the coming years, particularly in an era where patience is increasingly rare and the pressure to win now is constant. Industry insiders are speculating that whichever way this saga resolves, it will have ripple effects not just for Chicago but across the league, influencing draft strategies, trade talks, and the delicate balance between coaching authority and player empowerment. At the end of the day, this is a story that has all the ingredients of a classic NFL drama: a rising star asserting his ambitions, a head coach trying to maintain control, a franchise navigating expectations, and a league-wide audience eager for the next twist. The rumor mill continues to churn, and one thing seems certain: whether Caleb Williams stays with the Bears or takes his talents elsewhere, the saga is far from over. Fans, insiders, and analysts alike are bracing for what promises to be a defining chapter in the career of one of football's most exciting young quarterbacks. A chapter that could reshape the narrative not just for the Chicago Bears, but for the entire league. Every practice, every meeting, every snap now carries the weight of speculation and consequence, as the NFL waits to see if Williams' ultimatum will lead to compromise, confrontation, or a dramatic exit that would send shockwaves from Chicago to every corner of the football world. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.